Hey Key Seekers, I'm Nick. It's time for us to check out another Z490 video. I promise there's not that many more to go. We do have a couple more to get through, but we're checking out the ASUS ROG Strix Z490 iGaming. It's a mini ITX board for Intel's 10th gen platform. It is a cool looking board, but just remember, ladies and gents, this is not a review, this is just an overview. So let's do what we always do and roll that intro. Let's do it. As I mentioned in the intro of the video, this video is not a review, it's just an overview so you can get an idea of what comes in the box with the brand new motherboard and the feature set of the board and everything on the board itself. And this board has a few little interesting things on the board. So I'm going to stop talking and we're going to check out this new board from ASUS. Alright ladies and gents, it's time for us to check out the ASUS ROG Strix Z490 iGaming. But first off, we're gonna get the motherboard out of the box so we can take a bit of a closer look at all of the stuff in the box with the motherboard. First off, we've got some zip ties. Now these are to help with cable management. This is actually quite a nice little addition in the box. Next up, we've got this little keyring or keychain. Usually you would get a sticker in a motherboard box, but this one will actually give you 8 billion frames at 16K in Fortnite. So yeah, nice addition here. There's also this little RGB converter cable that converts it from one type of RGB to another. I can't remember the name of the other connector off the top of my head. There's 4 SATA or SATA cables for your 2.5 inch SSDs or your spinning rush drives. It's actually nice that they include 4 in the box with this motherboard. This is the shark fin antenna. That's for the built-in Wi-Fi 6 and the Wi-Fi AX connectivity. Actually, they're both exactly the same thing. There's also this little breakout cable. Now this breakout cable is used for the front panel connectors, so for your lights and your switches and all that stuff inside of your case, and this just makes it easier to connect everything up after the fact. There's 2 sets of M.2 screws that come with this as well. Now, this board does have 2 M.2 slots, and I'm going to show you the interesting way that they actually went about this a little bit later in the video. There's also this round circular device that no one knows what it is, and no one actually has any technology to use this, so please give us USB sticks. I'm going to say this forever, guys. Next up is the user guide. Now, this user guide will basically show you what everything is on the board, what every header is, all the BIOS options, and basically everything you need if you're a first-time builder or if you've built like a million PCs. Righto. Next up, we've got a sheet of ROG stickers. Some people like this, some people hate this. Personally, it's not something that I would use, but it is really nice that they do include this for those out there who love to bling out all of their things. Next up is this little card that thanks us for our purchase, and it reads a little something like this. Thank you for purchasing this ROG Strix product. You've made the choice of champions. To learn more about our passion for gaming and to receive news about the latest ROG innovations and offers, check out Armory Crate, our vibrant new one-stop information hub on the Microsoft Store. There's this little motherboard layout diagram, which is actually quite a nice little addition. It actually shows the mezzanine board and all that stuff as well, which we're going to dive into now as well. However, we won't be using this because, yeah, this is what this video is for. And this little contact information sheet, which is all pretty standard stuff in motherboard boxes, but let's do what we usually do and unsheath that motherboard from the plastic nice and slow. Here we go. Ooh, look at that. Nice and fresh. And let's take a little bit of a closer look at the ASUS ROG Strix Z490 iGaming. First off, there's 4 SATA ports or SATA ports for your 2.5 inch SSDs or your spinning rush drives. There's a USB 3.2 header and a USB Type-C header. There's the front panel connector for all your lights and all your wiring and all the switches to turn your PC on, and a 24-pin power connector to send all of that juice to your brand new Z490 iGaming. Along the top of the board, there's 2 PWM fan connectors, usually used for the CPU fan or the AIO. There's also a 4-pin 12-volt RGB header and an 8-pin EPS power connector to send all the juice to that brand new 10th gen CPU. There's a by 16 size PCIe slot, which is also a by 16 slot, and you can also see that mezzanine card, which we're actually going to pull off and show you how this actually is connected. All right, what we're going to do is we're going to pull off the top heatsink. It requires 3 screws to get that one off. It's a bit more complicated than a normal M.2 heatsink, but yeah, you'll see why in a second. There's also a mezzanine card underneath this, which actually houses both of the M.2 drives. You see there's a heatsink on the bottom side, which we're going to take off so we can take a bit of a closer look as well. And I'm going to explain this to you because this is more of a server thing that you're seeing on a desktop board. So on this side, which is the top side of the mezzanine board, is one M.2 slot, there's a 5-volt addressable RGB header, and the front panel audio connector. If we flip the mezzanine board over, you'll see that there's another M.2 slot and the 2 connectors to connect the mezzanine card into the motherboard itself. Now, this is actually pretty cool, and this is something that you would usually see on servers and not so much desktop boards. However, they have done this before, so it's not new. There's also a USB 2.0 headers for things like AIOs and other types of RGB products and old legacy stuff. There's also another PWM fan connector, and you'll notice there's also a passively cooled heatsink for the chipset underneath that as well. There's 2 DDR4 RAM slots which support up to 64 gigs of memory at 4800 megahertz overclocked. Pretty standard stuff for an ITX board. Now, because this is a 10th gen Intel based board, it has the Intel LGA 1200 socket, which supports the 10th gen CPUs, and it's a new socket, and you'll notice that the notches have been moved to the bottom of the socket, not the top. And while we're talking about this kind of stuff, and because it's 2020, we'll chat about the VRMs. It features a 8+2 phase digital VRM setup. It's got a more than adequate cooling setup with 2 big heat sinks, one with the IO shield, one across the top of the board, and it is also actively cooled, so it's not passively cooled. There is a fan underneath the IO cover. And if we flip the board over, you'll also notice there's no backplate like some of the other Z490 ITX boards that we've seen on the market, and there's no rear M.2 slot because of that mezzanine card. And if we take a look at that rear I/O, there is a DisplayPort connector, an HDMI connector, there's a BIOS flashback button, there's a bunch of USB ports, USB 3.2 ports, there's also integrated 2.5 gigabit Ethernet, USB Type-C, Wi-Fi AX antenna connectors for the built-in Wi-Fi AX or Wi-Fi 6, and some stereo in and out, and that integrated IO shield. And because you guys love our friends over at Peel Corp, we're going to see what they're up to today and do a little bit of a peel so we can take a bit of a closer look at the Asus ROG Strix Z490i Gaming. You guys ready for some B-roll? I am. Let's do it. Alright, ladies and gents, I hope you enjoyed the first look at this board. Now, this is a pretty interesting board. It does a few things that you would typically see on a server board, like this mezzanine card. I mean, Asus has done it before. We have seen it before, but I actually like this as a feature. However, I feel it might be a little bit complicated for first-time builders. But that being said, most people who are building ITX systems, and this is just a generalized statement, they would have already have built PCs before. So they'll get it, they'll know exactly what to do. But yeah, I just wanted to show you this cool little bit of tech. These mezzanine boards are usually in servers on the motherboard where they wanted to add like additional networking and monitoring systems like IPMI and ILO and that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's actually nice that they have it. I wonder if I could actually get another mezzanine card to work on a board like this, because that'd be pretty interesting. But I suspect it's got its own proprietary type of connector. I don't know, I haven't really looked into it. All I'm telling you now is stuff that I noticed while we were filming the video. But yeah, it's a pretty interesting board. However, all of these cool little features do come at a cost, because The ROG Strix Z490i Gaming is going for around 559 Australian dollars or around 359 US dollars at the time of filming this video, and they are available now. So yeah, I'll drop some links in the description if you guys are interested in grabbing one for yourself. But I think that's basically it. And if you guys like the music you heard here, I make all the music. It's available over on our Patreon. And if you want to get early access to videos just like this, you can go and find us on Floatplane. I'll put a link to that in the description. It's actually always there in every single video. And yeah, is that it, Claire?
I think so.
Oh yeah, there's a join button too if you want to support the channel. What else have we got? You got to hit the subscribe button if you haven't done that yet. Bell notification, all the YouTube things. If you hated the video, dislike it twice. I'm your boy Nick with Gear Seekers. You peak, we seek. And never fear, ladies and gents, I have a really cool build coming with this board. So get excited because I'm pretty keen to get stuck into some Z490 ITX stuff. We have another few Z490 ITX boards to do builds with too, but I really want to do this one before all of the others. We're just waiting for some fresh new cases to arrive, if you know what I mean. Thanks for watching.